Hey gents, look, fuck the script. I was bored, I've been making instruments, I'm gonna show you them. This one I did not make, so bad start. Shit. This is one I've been playing on the channel, you know it. Spruce top, flame maple back and sides, standard, right? Wrong. Look, there's no lips on the top and bottom. There's none. What the fuck is up? What the fuck is up with that? I've been playing this thing for 5 years? 7? I still don't know why. Who made it? Whatever the fuck that says. Why? Why is it made this way? I don't fucking know. I can't find any other like it. Not online, not in person. What is it? Made in 1880, Russia. So yeah, it's an old instrument. Survived a revolution, 2 world wars, and the difference in climate between Russia and Texas. So, tough. It's a tough old thing. Excellent sound too. It's a little bit bigger in all dimensions than a standard 4/4, and because the sides are pushed out to the edges of the top and back plate instead of with extra material, it's got a much bigger resonating chamber, significantly so. Gives it a sound kind of like a viola, but it holds its own in the top range as well. Another interesting detail is that the fingerboard, if you can see, it's got a hole carved right through it. Now that's something you'd expect from an instrument that has sympathetic strings, like a Hardanger fiddle. But of course, obviously, it's not. So I can only assume that it was either a half-finished experiment made by a learner, in which case, bravo, holds up well, or the fingerboard came from a scrapped project of some sort. Either way, beautiful. The reduced weight in the fingerboard also comes in handy in a way. Easier to hold. This American Mountain Dulcimer. Plywood back and side. Pretty standard. All I really did was add some frets to give it a full chromatic range, and switch the order of the strings so that it plays more like a guitar. That's just personal preference, though. This, obviously, you guys know that I've been making ocarinas for a bit longer. This is the best one I made, just by sheer luck. 12 holes, single chamber. When I put the top and the bottom on, I didn't have to adjust the airway at all, which means it's got a lot more air pressure, a lot better sound, all that. This monstrosity, God, it's so ugly. Anyway, same range, 12 holes, but it plays in, it can play drones, I guess. Put a frog on it as well because I was bored. This, the first string instrument I made that you'll see. Balalaika. Very much upcycling themed. The frets are made out of toothpicks, of all things. The top is just some shitty shop plywood with veneer on it. The tailpiece is actually the original tailpiece from the violin over there, but it as you can see, it's sort of split on the E string, so now it's here. Pity that it broke because it's got the original gut tie. May have been as old as the instrument itself, which is sad to think about because it's such a pretty piece and it's, well, not there anymore. Friction pegs, handmade. I used bits of an old bow for that. Sometimes they stick, sometimes they slip. Not great, but they work. The plywood overall is too thick. I don't know if you can get an idea of that from looking at the sound hole there. As a result, it needs to have metal strings. I would prefer to use nylon, just for the way you play it. And also you have to use a plectrum, which you're also not supposed to do, so... Any of you who know how to actually play balalaika probably shaking your head right now, and you probably should be. Anyway, next. Pretty standard Irish mandolin. I've swapped the strings around a bit though, so some are nylon, and also I tuned them in octaves instead of unisons. So, sounds very interesting when you play it like that. Unfortunately, I can't replace strings right now because I can't go outside and buy them. Which means when one of the strings here broke, I can't replace it. This will be a running theme. This is a rare find in northwestern Europe. It's a trongo. It's a relative of the lute, carved from a single piece. Not sure what wood, but it's either Spanish or Mexican, depending on which kind you get. I have no idea what this is from, no idea who made it. It's not marked anywhere. I found it warped half to hell in a pawn shop in Scotland. Since then, I've replaced the frets a little bit to make sure that it still plays in tune after the warping. I've put in a pair of sound posts to prevent further warping, as you can see those. And I swapped the strings around to play more like something I'm more familiar with. So essentially it's now a 5-course mandolin. The sound that it got after I swapped around the strings, unbelievable. You'd think it was a full-sized proper lute. Last of the ones that are currently functional. This one I just finished making about yesterday. It's a 5-string VL. The body is cut from a single shape, no bending, no steaming, all one piece, right from the peg box to the base. The front and back are the same plywood that I used on the balalaika, but I planed off some extra material to make them resonate better, and so that you can see the paler wood underneath. You can see here a typical circular rose, a little small, but you can also see some of these diamond or rectangular shaped corner roses, also very much historically accurate. And the F-hole is also historically accurate. The bridge, chestnut, unfinished, just like, you'd expect. The fingerboard, interesting case. I didn't really have the tools at the time to make a proper wedge, so I decided to use what was laying around, and as you can see, I didn't quite make it right. Got a little bit impatient. I experimented here with something to help prevent warping. I put 3 little posts between the fingerboard and the body. Hopefully that'll stop the strings from pressing too hard. Speaking of the strings, this is what the peg box looks like. One of those pegs I had to make myself. The other 4 came from an old electric violin I had. As you can see, that's all fairly historically accurate, fairly, One unfortunate thing about it is that you cannot use a 4/4 shoulder rest on it, and of course, coronavirus, I can't go out and buy one, so I'm going to put a serious crick in my neck trying to play this thing. The C string, in case anyone is wondering, is actually a viola string. I couldn't shell out for a violin low C. Those things are expensive. I don't know what the hell they're smoking, making them that expensive. If a C string for a viola is that much cheaper, I don't understand. Anyway, that's all the playable ones, that I own at least. Here we have some examples of half-finished projects, or some of them less than half-finished. This one is going to be a twin to the